Hello and welcome to another version review. Once again, we are at the last week of the version. This is 5.1, as you can tell from the title. And again, we're at the last week, so it's perfect time to look back at this version and see what it gave us, right? So, we got plenty of stuff to talk about. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about the Archon Quest. We got 2 new acts, and then the events as always. So, shall we begin? Starting, of course, with the Archon Quest. I guess, keep it kind of spoiler free-ish, but not really. This is a review, goddammit. What do you expect? Overall, I will say that the Archon Quest was pretty neat, actually. The story was decent. Pacing, for the most part, was fine. Honestly, the Kitlali part could have been shorter. I was kind of like, meh. And because I really kind of don't care about her character that much, it kind of felt like it was ever so slightly a bit longer than I would have liked it. But not gonna lie, the overall story was pretty good. Except for one major problem. Which is the hot air balloon. I think you were expecting this. Like, not only can you make a sandwich until it reaches its destination, it's also kind of like inconsistent. Because you start off the whole section with the balloon and the fighting. It starts off with 2 painfully slow rides, but then you're given the ability to teleport, and I was like, okay, so what was the point of the 2 starting rides? But thank you, I can teleport. But then like the last 2 again, you have to ride the balloon again. They kind of want you to show you the abyss destroying everything. But they could have done that in a cutscene. I don't need... not in a hot air balloon where I will age 2 years before it reaches its destination. Genuinely, like, it was horrendous. Horrendous to wait 10 minutes or so. Like, that's how much it felt for the balloon to travel along. Again, it could have been done in a cutscene, especially for the ending one. And then just don't have the stupid like rides at the start. Just teleport to the places. Why not? Why do we have to again go through all of this? Maybe 1, but at least make the thing very much faster, cause again it's so slow. But yeah, also, I mean, speaking of that, like showing you the destruction of Natlan from the abyss. My goodness, man, like the Traveler and especially Paimon just do not fit in this kind of like story, right? Because 4 years now, they have not gotten any character development. Paimon is as immature, honestly, as she ever was, and like in a superbly serious story like Natlan's, she completely sticks out with her comments and everything. Like, no, just no. Like, I don't like the... Like, that's why I hate this. I hate the plank, the wooden plank that is the Traveler of Emotions, and then immature baby Paimon. Like, they don't fit in such a serious environment. Also, the stars are fake, and we aren't putting the proper amount of attention to that, I think. Yeah, I think we should get Skara, Yeah, speaking of, the main event was Sumeru based. Why the fuck are we not asking Skara about what happened? We literally broke a piece of the sky, which he knows about. So maybe he could tell us what he knows about that. Like maybe we could get some more attention to that, please. So yeah, pretty good 2 acts. They can be a bit lengthy if you do them back to back, I would say. Like you can get a bit tired if you again do them all of the quests back to back, which is something that I do a bit because I'm like, hey, today I have some nice time, so let's do the Archon quests. So yeah, like you can get a bit tired towards the end, and again with the painfully slow hot air balloon, you'll seriously start to lose it because of the length. But again, it's overall nice. Again, once the entirety of the Archon Quest is complete, we can see how each act affected the entirety of it, the entirety of the story. Although it seems that in 5.2 we're not getting the ending, because we still have a lot to do, honestly. We're getting some sort of interlude quest that is, most likely calm or whatever. Again, it's not the continuation of the story, just an in-between, not necessarily most likely filler, but, again, no progress in the main stuff. So yeah, again, Archon Quest, pretty solid. So, with that out of the way, again, we didn't get a new area with 5.1, which is kind of weird, I think, right? We haven't had this happen in quite a while with not getting new areas in point 1 patches, right? I don't fully remember, unfortunately, but yeah, no new areas, so nothing on exploration. We did get a new boss for Xylon, whatever her name is, which sucks. But so with that, we can move on to the events, right? So we had 3 to 4 events. Main event was Nahida based because it was Nahida's birthday and it was cute, honestly. Again, Nahida's birthday, Subaru's festival was it called? Something like that. It is based again. It's for Nahida's birthday, and it's really nice that they synced the last part of the story with the actual birthday date in the real world. Story was fine. Only the first part with "Can these nuts fit in your mouth" was kind of boring because I don't care about her, and I think nobody does. And yeah, it was really boring. Like nothing substantial happened in the first part. But other than that, it was perfectly fine. Genuinely, the second part and the third part with the cutscene, really nice. Please give us outfits for the Traveler. The one in the cutscene is 100 times better than the default, in my opinion. And I believe people don't need a free Candace to sit in their account from the event. Why the fuck isn't the event reward a Traveler outfit? And this one is canon even, right? Like it's not a collaboration art that you see that you see in real life from the streams. It's in the game, right? It's canon in the fucking game. Give us the fucking outfit. I don't care for a free Candace. She can fuck off. I would have easily liked a free outfit for the Traveler. Like it's so much better than the default one. So yeah, again, story was fine. The Sumeru cast is always honestly really nice. I think they have, of course, set themselves as the most likable cast in the entirety of from the other nations, right? From all of the nations. So their shenanigans is pretty nice. And again, like it's nice again. It's Nahida's birthday, and the story fell with the actual date. Like really nice attention to detail, honestly. Although I think it didn't exactly fall on with the banner, because Nahida is rerunning right now, which would have been even better. But what can you do? So mini games then. We had 3 mini games. The first one was Subway Surfers. Yep, it was literally Subway Surfers. The second one was an anomaly finding game, which was very fitting as this event did run alongside like Halloween and stuff, or close to Halloween. Anomaly finding game where you were put into an environment and things were strange and whatnot, and you just had to go find the strange thing, click a button, and ba-boom, you found the anomaly, and you were done after a bit. And a combat minigame as is tradition with most main events. Subway Surfers thing, which I have some notes. The last stage, like it was extremely boring, honestly. The carriage was very slow, things were like very basic, and things like Subway Surfers should stay back to 2010, right? Unless they are unfathomably interesting, which I highly doubt you can do. But yeah, like the last stage told you that it was endless, but it ended after like 6 to 10 minutes, if I remember. So why the fuck are you lying? Like seriously, it said this is an endless stage, and then you see the timer up top, and you're like, what will happen when the timer reaches 0? Which I did find. The stage ends, so it's not endless, you fucks, you liars. And then the combat minigame was on the Abyss. Why? Why is it in the Sumeru Arena? We've had so many fucking events in Sumeru Arenas. Why the fuck did they not reuse a Sumeru Arena and they used the Abyss? Did you not give a fuck about the main event? Like, what the fuck happened? Genuinely, like, again, I don't think it's tougher to use a Sumeru Arena, which, again, they already have, compared to using the Abyss. So, like, what? So, overall, the main event was fine. The story was cute, as we said, and it was perfectly fine. Pacing was actually pretty decent. Like, the quests didn't feel like they were extremely long, and there was no extra subplot shenanigans. There was a tiny bit, but it was resolved very quickly with not a ton of attention, and I was like, thank fuck. Like it was harmless to the main story of this very tiny subplot. And then as for minigames, again, they were pretty much harmless. The Subway Surfers ones, as we said, should have stayed in 2010. It was kind of boring. But then the anomaly finding thing and the combat minigame, again, they were perfectly harmless towards the overall like satisfaction that you get from the event. So again, actually a decent main event, my goodness. Somehow. Wow. So then we get to the side events, the minor events. There was an aphids event. You were chasing a few things around with Zilonen. You would attack these aphids, whatever the fuck they were, honestly, and you would just build up a shield. They would fuck off to another area, go to the other area, hit them again, go to another area, and that was it. It was pretty basic and boring, honestly. They also, I think, put it right when the patch came out. So it's like, brother, wait, I gotta do the fucking Archon Quest. I don't have time chasing these things around. So that was that. Next minor event was a combat event, and buckle up, because there's quite a bit here. So this combat event was not basic, it was a combat event. You just instantly teleported to a location, and then you just went and faced the enemies. The way it worked is that it had 4 stages of difficulties. The 3 first stages were enemies, and the 4th one was a boss, always a boss, which is extremely weird. It's like, why? Why do we have 4 different difficulties, and the 3 out of the 4 are enemies, and then you completely change the enemy in the last one? Shouldn't it be the 2 first difficulties are regular enemies, and then the 2 last ones are the mini boss, where one is easier and the other is harder? Like, why? Anyways, but what this event did is that it completely confirms exactly the things that I said in the 5.0 Abyss video about Natlan enemies. Like, exactly. I'm kind of sad that it does, but it does. And let's check each of the stages and their enemies and bosses to examine the bullshit that I talked about in the 5.0 Abyss video and that we're gonna talk about now. So the first stage was Triple Kenki. It was dangerous because the arena was smaller than the Abyss, so they were very aggressive. You were always in their aggro range and kind of close to them, so a lot of their attacks did blend up and dealt a lot of damage to you. So it was kind of tough. It gave you a 400 EM boost as the buff, which, okay, I guess. It was interesting to delete the Triple Genki with Burgeon Toma, actually. Like other teams that I tried did not do that well. Even like a Zhongli shield would get obliterated with how many attacks you'll get from Triple Genki in a small arena. But then you put a Toma with Burgeon and like, wow. I mean, yeah, 400 EM boost on a Burgeon Toma is really powerful. So yeah, Triple Kenki was fine. Dangerous, but you could do it. Another enemy was the Mountain King, the fat fuck. It was easy because of the fruits mechanic mostly. It gave you a Vaporize buff, so if you tried any Vaporize theme, you were set on. But again, because you can use Pyro to deal a lot of damage to the Mountain King with the fruits that it swallows, it was a pretty easy fight. But then comes the bullshit. There were the new Abyss enemies that you fight in the Archon Quest, and they were absolute bullshit without Natlan characters or a C6 Xingqiu or C6 Fischl, and C6 Fischl, and a C6 Fischl. I tried my absolute best and like everything that I could find, and they just simply didn't do it. I had to use I pulled for Kinich, and I used Kinich, and it was extremely easy, because of course, these Abyss enemies are weak to Night Soul damage bullshit. Right, and if I dare try any other team, I simply just didn't have the time. Like, even a C6 Xingqiu and a Hu Tao, who applies Pyro with every fucking charge attack, they just didn't have the time, because the shield is giant. The way it works is you fill up a meter with Night Soul, you fill up a meter with Elemental application, kind of like a stagger meter in like Sekiro or even Rua, literally like that. And these like enemies that camouflage as other enemies, right? You fill up the meter, and then they go back to their basic form. The thing is that, again, this Elemental application was like, you need a lot of it. Generally, a C6 Xingqiu, people. A C6 Xingqiu is a god of application. I don't think there's a character that applies more of an element than C6 Xingqiu and C6 Fischl. They're the two gods. And again, a C6 Xingqiu with a Hu Tao did not do it. They applied a decent amount of elements, but then these things moved around a lot, they even teleported, and then they just got back their shield immediately, very quickly. The only time I did this thing without an Atlan character was C6 Xingqiu and C6 Fischl and Al Haytham. That was the only way that I had damage and elemental application to actually defeat these guys. Except, of course, with an Atlan character. Again, it confirms exactly the bullshit that I talked to you about in the 5.0 video with Night Soul garbage and interactions with enemies that this Night Soul thing is starting to have compared to Pneumousia, which was basic and its interactions were basic. And then, moving on for this event, there was the new boss that appeared, that is for Zilonen mats. It was literally undefeatable. I'm not joking when I say it was literally undefeatable. It was undefeatable. Seriously. If you didn't use Zilonen or Kachina, it was literally undefeatable. Because only Children of the Echoes characters can interact with this thing. Are you kidding me? No matter what you try, genuinely, you cannot interact with this enemy when it summons the pillars unless you have Kachina or Zilonen. And yes, Kachina is free, but a lot of people don't want to use Kachina because she's useless. Like if you have any other Geo character and sub DPS Geo character, Albedo, Chiori, why the fuck would you use Kachina? It's as simple as that. And of course, yes, Zilonen is extremely powerful, but there's a lot of people that don't want Zilonen, don't like Zilonen, any reason. So why the fuck would you put an enemy, a boss, that has two very specific counters? What the fuck? The only way I did this was a level 50 Kachina and a C6 Furina, of course. That was the only way. And again, if I didn't have Kachina, no, there was no way. This thing, no matter what you do, because it has a meter that fills up with if you have a Night Soul character, it has a meter that fills up. But even if you don't bring a Night Soul character, it will still go to that Pillars phase. Why? You could easily have it so that if you have a Night Soul character, right, it goes to the Pillars phase, and it gets a resistance reduction when you break the pillars, you break the things on top of the pillars, or you don't bring a Night Soul character, and you just never go to the phase, and you can brute force it with a lot of damage and a good team. But no, we have to do the Night Soul bullshit, and especially this, like, no, you can't use Mualani, can't use Kinich, specifically these two characters. What the fuck? And they're both Geo as well, like, my goodness. Holy fuck. This boss, again, exactly what I said in the 5.0 Abyss video. Put a boss like that in the Abyss, and nobody's getting past it. Like, what the fuck? And then, there was the Electro Turtle. This is a new local legend that appeared, and this thing is so absurdly bad designed, my goodness. So this Electro Turtle, first of all, it starts off the fight with an Electro Ball. That thing deals a fuck ton of damage, and I'm pretty sure it eats up your energy as well. So that's how that's how the fight immediately begins. And then, this thing literally can two-shot your characters. Not even joking. It does like these bounce attacks, and they can easily two-shot a character. And then, it gets an Electro Shield. And if you thought that was just, okay, just destroy the Electro Shield, go fuck yourself. Because when it has the Electro Shield up, it constantly, non-stop, deals damage to you. Yeah, non-stop. Not if you're close. It doesn't matter if you're close, doesn't matter if you're far from it, it will constantly deal damage to you, and high damage to you. And good fucking luck. Genuinely, good fucking luck. You wanna do cryo? Good fucking luck. There's no cryo character that will let you survive the constant damage. Seriously. Try Layla, fuck you. Try Zhongli, fuck you. And if that wasn't enough, the constant damage, passive damage that it does, it will also summon lightning. And literally just kill off your characters if they dare be in the AoE of these lightnings. I tried Tinari, because Tinari with his 3 charge shots and his burst, he can destroy shields like a madman. But the instant I pressed that burst, 2 lightning strikes came on top of him, and he was dead once the cutscene was over. Dead. I couldn't do jack fucking shit. And then, not to mention, the spin. Because yes, this thing has a stupid spin attack, and you're dead. Because the arena was also pretty small, you were dead. You were very dead, and you can definitely see that from the background footage that I have of this thing. And we were talking about that background footage. I was just trying to get some Kinnage footage for the Kinnage review, which you can watch us out, and for this video, and I wasted like 20, 30 minutes or even 40 minutes of my life on this fucking thing just to get a bit of footage. A bit of footage with Kinnage in there. Kinnage, a Baizu and a Toma, maxed out Toma and a maxed out Baizu, were not enough to protect and heal Kinnage from this thing. Just so you can get a little bit of a view on the stupid damage that this thing dealt. And the last enemy that you faced was the Terror Shroom, which had a ton of HP, it was giga buffed, and it unfortunately had a useless for 98% of the cast buff that made it unkillable. The buff was burst damage and energy recharge, which literally only Raiden uses. Nobody else. And Eula for the burst damage. But who the fuck is going to use Eula? My goodness. Yeah, like burst damage. Only Raiden uses it, and if you guess I want to use Eula. Anybody else doesn't care for the burst damage and the energy recharge. It's again, only Raiden. So unless you had like a C2 Raiden or C6 Urina and Raiden like me, and a C0 Raiden like me, you did not do this because the chicken had a fuck ton of HP. I could put a Futo there that could have dealt 150,000 if she wanted with her charge attacks, each charge attack, and she did not do it. I was at around 20 seconds and this thing easily had a quarter of HP left. So nice. It's a testing ground. This combat event was 100% the testing grounds for what's to come to the Abyss or even the Imaginarium Theater. Because they're buffing the HP of enemies in the Abyss, so we're gonna have things like the Terror Shroom, where if the buff isn't good in the Abyss, go fuck yourself, even if you deal so much fucking damage. Or we're gonna have the new Natlan enemies, which are horrendously done, and catered to Night Soul enemies, Night Soul characters only, and then again, go fuck yourself. And again, it's not just an Abyss thingy. Imagine being in the Imaginarium Theater, and just because of luck, you just don't have any Night Soul characters to face the boss. Yay, or an enemy even. Wow, because basic enemies also have these mechanics. It's so nice. Yeah, this combat event was clearly the testing grounds for what to come in the Abyss, and it fucking sucked. It confirmed exactly what I said in the 5.0 Abyss video. I genuinely hope that maybe they take whatever data they will take from this event, and they will say, okay, we've done a lot of bullshit, let's not do that, just like they did with Fontaine. But again, the thing is that Pneumosia was a pretty basic interaction and mechanic, while Night Soul isn't. That's the thing, and it seems again that they will make Night Soul the bane of your existence to pull for Natlan characters, instead of doing it the smart way. So, nice. This combat event can go fuck itself. And if, again, it's the thing that starts the absolute downfall of the Abyss and even the Imaginarium Theater, then I told you so is the only thing I'm gonna say. Hopefully not, but again, we might come back to this combat event to see where it all began at some point. That's what I'll say. And then lastly, there was a shitty co-op thing that I didn't even interact with because I don't want to play co-op in Genshin unless it's a fucking raid boss. Seriously, it was a combat event. I thought it said it could be done in single player, which I don't understand why there couldn't be a single player version of this event. So yeah, unless you give me a literal raid boss, which would be sick, I don't want to do co-op. Generally, I don't want to do co-op. And I think a lot of my friends even didn't want to play this thing, play the co-op event, because like, it was literally just, give us a raid boss, an absolute raid boss. Just do that. Give us a raid boss. I'll do it. I'll play it. So yeah, that was that. That was that for minor events. So the Aphids event was meh. Combat event, my goodness. And then the shitty co-op event, which I couldn't care less. But the main event was good, I guess. So we're doing exactly that, huh? We're doing the exact opposite of what happened in the previous patches, right? Where the main event is going to be good and the side events are going to suck, compared to the side events being fine or harmless and the main event sucking. Well then, I don't know which one I prefer, honestly. So yeah, and then of course you've got Liben. Hey, Liben's back. He's got Snesnaya crumbs. Interesting. So that was 5.1. Overall, what can I say? Like, again, the Archon Quest was good, but that's only part of the entire version. The main event was decent, but that's again part of the version. And then all of the minor events were horrendous, to say the least. So like, it was okay. It was a fine version, I guess. Sure. I don't know what to say. Reruns, my goodness, banners. Where's Risley? Where's Risley? Every single video, I'm not joking, I'm going to mention that we still don't have Ryo the Slay, first rerun. We're getting a Lini rerun, a fucking Nouvellette rerun, and a Zhongli. I mean, Zhongli I can understand. We're in the Archon reruns phase right now. But what the fuck is a Lini doing there? What? Why? He's had 2 reruns now, and Risley's sitting on 0. 0. Nada. And I can understand bringing Nouvellette in, because he goes well with Auroron. But they didn't put Auroron in his banner. They put him on Lini and Chaska. It's like, why? Why? Like, Chaska, sure, they get a bit along, but why Lini? Why not with Nouvellette? Which, electrocharged. Like, the fuck? Oh my goodness. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. The Abyss is going to reset soon, so we're going to have our November Abyss and Imaginarium Theater review, so stick for that. So once again, like the video if you liked it, sub to the channel to help it out, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.